Well, our conversation today on the Limitless Leadership Lounge is going to be all about creating magic. We'll get to that in a moment here. I'm John Gehring, your host, reminding you that if you're enjoying the podcast so far, make sure to leave us a review up on wherever you're listening, whether that be Apple Podcasts. You can review us and write us an actual review. On Spotify, you can rate us. We'd appreciate that. That's always good feedback. And if you're checking us out up on YouTube, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we would love to see you back here for more tri-generational conversations. Like I said, I'm John Gehring, joined as always by Dr. Numa Kareem and Coach Jim Johnson. And Coach has brought along another guest today who's going to talk a lot about creating magic, time management, and so much more. Coach, let's welcome in our guest this morning.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have Lee Cokerell and to share a little bit. The blessing was I've become good friends with a guy named Reinhard Donger, and Reinhard has been in leadership for many years, including three stints at what we call the Genesee Valley Club in Rochester. But Reinhard has traveled all over the country working in various hospitality, and one of the people he worked under. Reinhardt brought up at one of our lunches, his name was Lee Cokerell. He says, you might want to see reach out to Lee, and he introduced us. And so let me share just a little bit about Lee because he's got quite an extensive resume. Lee Cokerell was the executive vice president of operations for Walt Disney World for over 10 years. He continues to speak and teach in leadership and professional development on behalf of the Disney Institute. A popular keynote speaker, he frequently addresses Fortune 500 corporations, government agencies, educational institutions, and nonprofits and across the country. He lives in Orlando with his wife Priscilla. He's written a few books, including a great book that I had the pleasure to read called Creating Magic. So without any further ado, Lee, welcome to the Limitless Leadership Lounge.
Thanks, sir. Good to be with you.
Great. So Lee, let's talk. I went through your book. I took a lot of notes. It was really well done. And can you talk a little bit about in building relationships? You had an acronym I really enjoyed called RAVE. Can you delve into that a little bit for us?
Well, relationships, at the end of the day, I needed to have good relationships with people, and I do that by having a really good attitude and being reliable. And that's because I don't have a college degree, so I figure at least I better be reliable and have a good attitude. So at least that way people give you a chance. And frankly, that's all they can see at first is your attitude and your reliability. And yeah, I mean, I grew up in Oklahoma. My parents kind of, we were in that era when you had to say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, and be nice to everybody. And so we learned that, and respecting, the rave is kind of clear: respect, appreciate, and value everybody. And I can tell you, for the uh, from Bangladesh point of view, when I lived in Oklahoma and grew up there, Oklahoma was very racist and very bigoted. And I went to a segregated school, one for whites, one for blacks, and a third one, no doubt, for American Indians, American Native Indians,
Wow.
Native Americans. And I look back on that as what? And literally, I grew up, 40s and 50s, and I thought that was right. That's because that's the problem. When you're in an environment and you don't know any better, you think it's right. And I didn't know anything, but I escaped. I dropped out of college after 2 years because I wasn't smart enough to stay in college, and then went in the army. That was a awakening. I didn't meet a black person until I was 20 years old.
Wow.
Can you imagine? And then I went to Washington, D.C., and I got a job as a waiter at the Washington Hilton, a banquet waiter. And I say, if you don't like people from other places, don't go to Washington. Everybody is from somewhere else. You work with them in the hospitality business, they become your friends. You go to picnics, one of them, and you might even marry one. So it was that I really preach today. You got education's great, but exposure and experience is what really makes you who you are. And so when I left Oklahoma, I'd been nowhere, never been out of the state. And today I do work and travel to 48 countries around the world. I've been everywhere, and I don't think I have a discriminatory bone in my body anymore because every country I
Mm,
go to, they have little babies and little carriages, and they love them. And I tell mothers only worry about safety and education, and I think that's all we need to worry about. We don't need to be worrying about all this other stuff of who you sleep with and who you go to church with and where you go to church.
mm,
I tell everybody at Disney, it's none of your business, so don't even talk about it. So it's just
amazing.
that
Yeah.
was my kind of change is changing my environment and getting more
Mm,
exposure to the world because you're pretty ignorant when you are not exposed. When you
mm,
don't know, and
right.
you actually believe your parents. I tell people half the stuff in your brain's not even true, and most of what your parents taught you is not true. So you got to, and then you go out and find out what's up there. I even tell people, a lot of stuff in your brain you don't even know is up there. Somebody put it up there by saying something, telling a joke, being a bad person. And so I'm always thinking about what's in my brain, what triggers me, and why. What happened? And you eventually can cleanse it.
Right.
You can actually get it's like software, you can change it.
Mm,
And most people's brains in the world need a good change of software.
That's for sure.
amen to that.
So
And
that's my
Lee,
story.
yeah. And it's wonderful, and it's a perfect segue to our next question. I just want to thank you for your leadership because it shows you are embodying one of the characteristic of a open-minded leader. But nowadays we see so many leaders, they are closed to their own beliefs and thoughts and would not open up to create that zone of conversation and inclusion. So it is so refreshing to see you today. And this time we need to have these kind of discussion where, and you have embodied the idea of inclusion into your leadership. And it's amazing to see, like I was going through your podcast and also your book, and you are leading more than 40,000 cast members in Disney. And it's interesting to see that there are 40,000 cast members with so many different unique characteristic. They have their own values, they have their own vision. But one example you gave that during the crisis of Charlie hitting the storm, hitting Disney, while everybody was rallying to find a solution. So, if you could share that sense of inclusion and leadership that you promoted, how did this happen? Like, how did you brought everybody under this one umbrella?
Well, I think one thing you got to remember is that uh, the person who is leading the organization should not underestimate the influence they can have over time
Mm,
by being the role model, setting the example. Certainly, I tell people if you just manage like a mother, you'll be a great leader because mothers care. And when you care, you make the right decisions. And mothers can only care about two things: safety and education, and they care about everybody. They care about all their kids. And by the time I got to Disney, I was very wired that way. I mean, I understand clearly. I've worked with people from everywhere. I've been everywhere. I've my mother. I'll just give background. I had a very dysfunctional family. My mother was married 5 times. I've been adopted twice. I got my name Cokerell when I was 16 by husband number 4. I grew up on a farm, very poor. We had nothing. We had the old outhouse. My grandkids have a hard time believing it. They think I'm lying, but it's true. And, I grew up that way. And then that exposure just triggered me to make sure that I understood people have problems. Everybody has a problem you don't know about. Everybody's got issues, worries. And slowly but surely, I just felt that, and I felt okay. What is a leader? I was the leader of Disney World,
mm,
but I didn't. I'd never worked in a park. I'd
mhm,
never worked. I'd worked for Hilton Marriott, And but when I came to Disney, they weren't too excited to see me. This guy's going to be in charge. He's never worked at a park, and I don't worry so much about the technical knowledge. People ask me what I did at Disney. I said nothing. I hired great people, and I made sure we were doing three things: that we were hiring the right people, we were training them, and we were treating them right. And at the end of the day, that meant getting rid of the wrong people. And over time, and luckily I was there 10 years. I had time because so often today companies and organizations are changing leadership every 2 or 3 years or every year or over and over and over. And here comes another idea and another due. And I was just there. And I spent my time out with the employees. I walked the parks 4 or 5 hours every week, talking to people, seeing what's going on, checking the bathrooms, making sure that and the other thing, I had good experience. I'd done it all. I'd been a cook in the Army. I had been a waiter. I had been in the accounting department. I had been washing dishes, housekeeping. And everybody knows if you know what you're doing. And they know if you know. People think, well, people don't know. They know. They know. And when you work in those jobs, again, you appreciate them. You find out they're good people, and life's good, and there's nothing to complain about. And when you're in a position like I was, I had the ability to help people have a better life. So when I make sure they get training and development, and that we treat them right to build their self-esteem and self-confidence and make them understand they can achieve something. And I tell them all, just start out like I did. Good attitude and reliability, you'll be noticed, you'll probably get promoted. And then you'll get promoted, and you'll get promoted, and you'll get promoted. And people ask me all the time, Lee, what were your goals? I said, I don't have any goals. I never had any goals. My goal was to keep my job. And I didn't. My boss, by the way, said when he was 17, he knew he would be president of Disney World. And he did. Wow. I didn't have any goal. I was figure I'd lucky if I got dinner. I mean, so it's about behavior, and it's about care. I think it's about caring. I always talk about that. If you care, you'll do the right things. And you know what's the hardest thing to do in life? The right thing. Right. That's the hardest thing we all have to do, is the right thing. And I think about that now. When you do the right thing all the time, you don't have a lot of friends, but I don't care. I don't need any friends. My wife has been with me 57 years, so she said she's going to stay. So I think I'll be okay. My grandkids adore me. They like me better than their parents. And, so I'm happy. Somebody asked me, Lee, how would you say about your life? How would you rate it? And I say, complete. You got to live with yourself. You got to be who you are, and that makes tough decisions sometimes. I even tell young managers and leaders, if you cannot make hard decisions and have hard conversations with people, number one, don't have children, and number two, don't get into a leadership job where you're responsible for people's future, because hard conversations are. Well, that's why mothers are great. Mothers are the best leaders. They don't play around. Mothers are clear. Mothers are get to the point. Mothers use empathy and discipline. That's the only two tools they need. And they'll tell you they love you and then kick your butt. It's just a strategy. It's a simple way. I think it's so simple. The only question you have is how much empathy and how much discipline on each situation. A little more of this, a little less of that, a little more of that, a little less of that. And when you manage people, to be fair and firm and have that reputation. He's fair and he's firm. So they help you. They go out and tell everybody, hey, the guy, he was okay. He did the right thing. And then all of a sudden you have all these people telling other people about you. And that's how you get I guess that's how you lead 40,000 people. And that's what happens. Cultures get better or worse slowly, and leadership, everything starts at the top and rolls downhill, good and bad. And so I tried every day to make sure good stuff was rolling down the hill, And eventually, even we have a lot of Hispanic housekeepers that clean rooms, and we provide 2 hours a week with professors from colleges to come in and teach them English, and they become managers 3 and 4 years later, and they get our last one president at Disney, President Disney, was gay. One was a woman. One was, I mean, this is like when I got there, 92% of all leadership were white males. And over those years, we changed that because you can't do that. You cannot have commitment when you're in that when you got so many people that are not having opportunity. I mean, in fact, eventually they work against you. People go from getting mistreated to violence, and we see it all over the world.
Yeah.
People don't know they matter. Don't know you matter, and you don't have anything to lose. And I understand those things deeply and well, and only because of experience. I've worked all over New York, LA, Boston, France. Frankly, you learn. People say, if you haven't learned with all that experience, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Experience does. And so even kids that don't want to go to college today, I tell them, okay, go join a good company, take any job you can get, and be better than everybody else. And you will have a good career. They'll notice you. They may put you through college. Lots of good things happen when people want to work with you and trust you. Trust.
Yeah.
And there's very little trust today in the world. I mean, literally. And you know what? One reason is people don't have psychological safety. They're afraid to do the right thing. They're afraid to speak up. And I think it's the biggest problem, psychological safety. If I do this, I'm just trying to stay low key, try to get to retirement alive, try to, that last 15, 20% the leader doesn't know. That's what gets everything screwed up.
Yeah.
And psychological safety, I think about that. I'd rather have psychological safety almost than physical safety. At least you can see the problem. If it's physical safety, psychological, you don't know who's working against you and not doing it and not doing the right thing and making you, and intimidating you and being autocratic. And the old brain just knows one thing's important: take care of yourself. So maybe I better not speak up today. This could get me in trouble. It's survival. And I tell you, organizations, I don't know any that do it well, but they better be working on it, because that's why they have turnover. That's why service is so bad. That's why nobody wants to stay with you. Why would I stay with a place where I don't feel safe and trusted, and better opportunity comes along? Hey, I'm out of here. And I want an organization at Disney where people don't want to be out of here. They want to stay. And so I think a lot of leaders got to go through this process of thinking about it. Is it them or is it you? Are you the problem? And I suspect if you got a bad situation, you are the problem. If you have bad kids, you are the problem. And if you could interview the parents, you know what kind of kids you're going to get. So it's just it's so simple that it's frightening.
Yeah. Yeah. One way you did this too was through your servant leadership. You talked about walking around the park and also talking to these people. Servant leadership is such a step outside of so many leaders' comfort zones. I don't know if it's the title or the ego or what it is. How do you become that servant leader that is impactful?
Well, I think for me, it was easy because I'd been out there in every job. I was comfortable in the kitchens. I was comfortable with people that were immigrants. I was comfortable with people that had a tough life living on the edge. So that was easy for me. I think that's what part of the problem. I think a lot of leaders had no exposure. They grow up in a wealthy or well-to-do family. They go off to college. They've never had a job when they were growing up. They didn't work in the summers. They didn't, and we replicated that. My son, he didn't have to work by the time I was so successful, but we sent him to Oklahoma every summer. He worked on a cattle ranch, digging fence post holes, and then his kids didn't have to work for sure. And they all worked in horticulture in the summer, had to be to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, pulling weeds, spreading mulch, and just we just kept replicating that early responsibility because you work with adults, you have to be to work on time, blah blah blah. And next, all three of them are right now graduated from college. One's a biomedical engineer, one's in marketing in New York City, and one is finishing up his internship. He just graduated from his bachelor's degree in hospitality management from in France, and his mother's French. And so, it's the leader can make this happen, and the leader at home is probably the one that gets it. It's where it starts. It's not the leader at work. It starts at home, and then people who don't raise their kids properly, then they send them to us. We got to deal with this mess. Teach them to come to work on time and take a shower and be nice and say yes. And so it's a big circle, and it starts with poverty and education. I mean, that's the problem right there. I mean, it's a simple problem that we are not addressing. Obviously, I mean, certainly a capitalistic society like America, we're not addressing it at all. And so much corruption around the world and in countries that they just can't get it together. And so I think any young person who wants to do well ought to get out of your environment, get out of the place, leave home, go somewhere. You'll survive. Somebody said when I was sleeping on some park benches, I knew I was going to be successful. And go somewhere and take any job, wash dishes, make beds. You got to get started. But
Right.
it's not going to get out of your village. It's not going to change. Nothing in the village is going to change. You got to go, and your mother won't like it. She wants you to stay, and you got to get away because your brain is infected, and it needs physical attention. So that's how I think about it. And everybody I know, and we made sure our grandkids, man, they're all over the place. They've traveled all over the world. They understand their best friends are. I say to people, listen, I have friends that are named Mohammed. People in Oklahoma look at me, really?
Till now? In
And
this
Maria.
era?
So Lee, delving into that as far as a leader, and you had this opportunity, and certainly a number of leaders do. Give us some advice on how you pick the right people to bring on for your team, and maybe give an example of a couple interview questions you've used to help in that process.
Yeah, for me, first it depends where you're getting them from. If you're getting them from where you work, and at Disney, we pick a lot because we get a chance to watch them when they're in the lower level jobs. Their reliability, their attitude, how well they do, how they treat each other, don't get in trouble. But when you're hiring somebody from the outside, I would say certainly we want to have the ability to do the job because of the technical knowledge they have. But then that's a given. We don't even, if we know that, then we're looking for literally, again, we're looking for this attitude and reliability and ability to work with teams. And we're looking for people can prove to us they've overcome obstacles in their life and show us. So we ask questions. Tell me about a time when you had a manager that was not doing well, and he was the son of the owner, and how did you handle that? And what you're looking for. Everybody has obstacles every day. Well, that's all we were here for, frankly. But first obstacle is getting up. Second one's traffic. The third one's running into some idiot, and then your boss, and then customers. I mean, life is just obstacles, and once you understand that, when you're ready for something, you handle it better. I know I'm going to have obstacles all day long. That's fine. I'm not going to overreact. I'm just going, okay, here's another person doesn't know what's going on. I'll just be nice. Lady yesterday gave me a bad face at the grocery store out in the parking lot because I parked kind of crooked. She couldn't get out very well. And she was making this face, and I rolled the window down. I said, "Excuse me, what's good? Can I help you?" And she said, "You parked funny." I said, "Sorry, this was a very hard parking space to get into, and I hope you have a good day." I could have said, "Hey, lady, shove it."
Mm.
I don't. I try not to make anybody's life worse than it already is, because most people wake up in the morning, their life is a mess already. And
Mm.
so, obstacles. Tell me about a time when you were behind budget and you had 2 months left to the end of the year. Tell me, and what you want to listen for is what did they do, and what was the final outcome. No,
Mm.
they might not have made it, but what did they do? What actions did they take? Can they take the hard actions? Can they? And that's overcoming obstacles, because frankly, that's all you do every day. I don't care who you are. Every problem you have in your life will be a person. I
Mm.
guarantee you, it'll never be the equipment. It'll be a person, and you'll try to
Yeah.
track every problem in your life to a person. And
And the obstacles you face makes you empathetic as well. Because when you know that these are the obstacles I had to face, what I went through, when you look into other people, then you find that empathetic point
you,
of view.
you do, and a lot of people think obstacles cannot be fixed. Well, of course they,
Mm.
but they're
Right.
hard. It's like exercise. Why don't people exercise? Because it's hard. Why
Right.
do people eat 3 more meatballs at dinner? Because it's hard not to. Why do people eat cheesecake? Because they can't stop. I mean, hard things are hard. But
Right.
you do the hard
Right.
things, life gets easier. When you do the hard things, life gets easier for everybody around you too. Because if you stay on this easy route, your life gets to be, don't discipline your kids, then you'll get to go visit them in rehab,
Mm.
or you'll get a divorce, or uh, you got to take care of those hard things. And the other problem with hard things that people don't realize, they pile up. So you start with one, you don't deal with, and then another and another. And the first one obviously is education and poverty, and you can't get out of there. You don't leave home, then you get somewhere else. You don't have an education, you can't get the job, blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, this is what happens to people. They end up with a stack of obstacles and problems in their life. Now they don't have it anywhere. They don't even know where to turn. So they end up with anxiety, depression, uh, whatever else causes when we feel out of control. The key
Right.
in life is staying in control. That's why I wrote that time management book. It's
Mm.
not about time management, it's about keeping your life under control, your health, your family, your relationships, your knowledge, is your life under control?
Right.
And I
And the
can say,
discipline. You've been in army, so you have that experience of discipline as well. So you're embodying that aspect of discipline, and I can see you, like you have the shirt. You are respecting the podcast as well. Like there are so many people. We are all like we are wearing T-shirts and things like that. So you were talking about first impression. That was so that I really feel that strongly about it. And that's what I teach to my volunteers and my team, that your first impression will last the longest. So, and many of us nowadays are not paying attention to it. So, why did you feel that it is important to make that first impression, and especially for leaders?
well, because that's the only evaluation you have of a person. And
Mm.
you don't forget it. Unfortunately, you can't get it out of your mind. No longer you wonder what else. To me, it's a judgment issue. If
Right.
you have bad judgment, what else are you going to have bad judgment on?
Mm.
It looks like you don't make good decisions, and everybody's in the situation they're in because of the decisions they make along the way. If you'd have made a different decision, you wouldn't be where you are. And the problem is they make easy decisions. It's easy to put
Right.
on a t-shirt.
Mhm.
It's actually I never wear t-shirts, and I have no short sleeve shirts, and I don't wear Bermuda shorts, and I don't ever.
Mhm.
Not only because I don't like to, not because it's any problem. Everybody in Orlando, wears Bermuda short. I don't. No, I'll just stay normal.
But in one of those podcasts, it was interesting when you said that you prepare yourself for meeting anybody. You never know who you will be meeting or how you will be putting your impression in. So it was interesting when you mentioned that, like you're always ready to face the situation.
Well, I think it's two things. You don't know who you're going to run into, and you don't know who you might just have a conversation or coffee with, and they are impressed. I mean, then they end up hiring you because that first impression got the conversation going. It's just it's all connected. It's all connected, and that's what we forget is make better decisions, you'll have a better life, and. Uh, how many times, and I tell people in the morning, there's two ways to make better decisions. One is reflection. What'd you do yesterday that you could have done better?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
anticipation. What's going to happen if you don't do something? You don't get that college degree. You don't have a good attitude. You don't are not reliable. You don't have any knowledge about something. What's going to anticipation?
Right.
And that's hard for young people to anticipate because they get into that 19 to 20, 22, 23. They just want to have fun. And I tell life catches up pretty quick. I tell
Yeah.
people you're born, you're 21, you're 65, and you're dead. So life goes by very and
Isn't
I
that
have
the
a
truth?
56-year-old son. Where'd he come from? I mean,
Yeah.
30-year-old grandchildren. What? Where'd they couldn't be mine.
Hey Lee, speaking of hiring, that's one thing that you couldn't create magic on your own, right? But it was the hiring that made the difference in bringing the right people on the team. And the example that you set, what do you look for bringing the right team members onto a team?
Yeah, well, at Disney, we have a system. We work with the Gallup organization to create a profile. And today, if you want to work for Disney, you apply online. And if they like the looks of your technical and everything, right, then they have a phone call with you. And if that goes well, then you have to go online and answer 136 questions about yourself. 90 of them are graded, 45 or 50 are duplicates just to see if you're telling the truth. And they're very accurate. And then if you get through that, then you get a telephone interview and then you get hired. And we're looking for people, same thing. Can you, you talk about discipline, talk about this ability to take care of things consistently. Can you sell ice cream cones for $9 when it's 95 degrees in Florida and the customers are already not happy because their kids spent too much money? Creating magic's not easy.
Mm.
And so we're looking for people that can go with the flow and aren't, we say, I'll just tell you one, we say at Disney, you don't have to be happy to work at Disney. You just have to act happy for 8 hours.
Right.
And that's clarity of what we're looking for. Clarity. And I tell everybody, make sure if you're a leader and you're hiring somebody, just say, now let me tell you how we work around here. If you ever mistreat a customer or don't take care, you will be fired. Clarity, just like mothers. Good mothers are clear, and you better not get them riled up. Clarity is for your own good. Clarity is
Mm.
because I can't figure out what all the problems are with your psychologically, but I can make sure you don't show them to our customers and to each other. This is a business. We have a business, and I mean, what are we selling? Happiness. I mean, that's pretty hard. And how do you create happiness? With the right people that take care of you. And that's just, I think clarity is one of the biggest problems in the world. People are not clear, and then they don't. When somebody doesn't do what you told them to do and taught them to do and trained them to do, the leader should immediately, like your mother. She doesn't wait for your annual review. She hits you by the ear, takes you in there. Do you understand? Did you not understand what I told you? and then she takes your phone away for a month or so.
Yeah, I can vouch for the Disney's cast member creating happiness and helping because I've been to Disney World twice, and there was a guy who was like cleaning near the trash can, and I was looking for the haunted castle, and I was asking like, "Do you know the way to the haunted castle?" And he just put his work there and said that, "Let me take you there." I'm like, "No, I don't want to bother you." But like, "No, no, no, I can walk you there." And he walked like 10 minutes with us to the haunted castle. And then like and I still remember that, like how he helped us to reach that place. And there was that sense of belongingness, like he could make those decisions. That means Disney empowered him to make that decision that he could take that time off to walk us to the haunted castle. So I think that was another example of Disney's leadership.
Well, and it's we have one purpose at Disney that every cast member gets drilled into them is that our purpose is to make sure that every guest who comes to Disney World has the most fabulous time of their life. Period.
Mm.
I don't care whether they're eating French fries or at the Haunted Mansion. It's got to be a good experience, and that's your job to make sure it is unbelievable. Because why? Because we want you back. We
Right.
want your credit card. Mickey likes credit cards and cash.
That's what you don't hear, right? That's what we don't.
People, right? They spend more and they give you more, and they don't go to Hawaii next year. They come back to Disney and they come back. And if they go to somewhere else, they're not happy because they are comparing it. All we do in the world is compare.
Mm.
We all do it. We all compare. And I tell people in the hospital, treat those patients right because they've been to Disney. What excellence looks like. And so be nice to them. They're already feeling unsafe. They feel scared. Our job is to make sure that, and when you think about it, like I'm going to leave, and then after this call, I'm going to go to my coffee shop. I'm going to make a lot of people happy today, just for fun.
Mm.
And they're going to go, "Who was that guy?"
Mm.
I mean, it's more fun than people yelling at you. I mean,
True.
and I think it's just a matter of we've got to have a conversation with ourselves, and frankly, a lot of people are too far down the path sometimes. That's why they need good leadership to get turned around. Their attitude is not good. They've been mistreated. They don't have any hope. They don't see a future. This is it's that relationship with people is like I can make their life better or worse today. And there's no upside to being mean to people? None. Zero. In fact, it's dangerous. There's no upside. There's no upside to having a big fight with your wife. If you think there is, try it. And and I had stress in my marriage and over the years and all, and I was insecure because of growing up with no degree in my family and blah blah blah. And I overcame that. My wife, sure, she still annoys me, but I let it go. And that's what you got to do. And when you let it go, it's over in your brain in 10 seconds.
Well,
Yeah,
Lee,
there's
I
this.
got to delve into a little bit deeper. First of all, I appreciate your wonderful insights. So my last question for you, I have to delve in because we try to help young leaders, and one of the things with young leaders is starting their family, right? You can call it work-life balance, work-life integration. I'm curious, what are a couple keys to being married 57 years?
Well, obviously, I was working a lot. I worked 6 days a week when I worked for Hilton, and my day off was Thursday. Marriott is very demanding. And I think the key you got to remember is the time you spend with your family is, I'll put it this way. On my days off, I spend it with my family. I don't play golf. I don't go off. I don't do something. When I get home at night, I put my phone down and I'm there. And I will tell you, your children, it's not about spending a lot of time with them. It's how you spend that time. and that you're available for them, because by the time they're 13, they don't like you anyway. So you've only got a few years to nail that down, that love and appreciation and confidence and just be available. And so that's how I did it. I work on routine. My life is routine. I get up, I go to work 6:30 in the morning, blah, 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 do my job, 5 o'clock, I stop. My boss knows that. I go to the gym, I work out. I get home at 6:37. I spend a couple hours with my wife. We go to bed early, but on the weekend we spend time together. I'm there for my son. I schedule every event to go to his. When he was growing up, I never missed a football game. I never missed a play. I never missed anything. And I had that agreement with my bosses that I just want you to know before I accept this job that that's one of the non-negotiables. I will have to be. I'm not going to stay at work because and miss my son's Christmas party, And so you got to make sure, and you got to put your life together, and you got to manage your life. You got to manage it, and that's what I mean. Keep it under control, and don't let people direct your life in a place that you're going to be unhappy about. I happen to marry a saint because she doesn't mind being alone. Actually, if I stay home too much, sometimes she says, "Why don't you take a business trip this week?" And we got through it. 57 years actually coming up in August, and after my mother was married 5 times, my brother 4 times, I figure I better get the family average down. My son's been married 31 years. So,
Wow.
you can change it.
Yeah,
A leader
exactly.
can change the game. You
Hmm.
can change the game, and the leader is the key. And you don't even have to be a big, loud, out in the face leader. Just people are watching you. I said, my wife gave me good advice once. She said, "Be careful what you say and do today, Lee. Everyone's watching you and judging you all the time."
Hmm.
True. You're always being judged.
Right.
And so if you have a bad reputation, it's probably your fault. And so it's just be more aware of you. Think about yourself and how you're affecting people. And literally every week, this week I got like Reinhard Danger. I heard from him. I heard from him yesterday. He's on his way on vacation to Greece or somewhere, or Germany. I don't, or maybe maybe is he going home to
part of it is that he's going home. I think he's going
Denmark?
to Italy as well.
Yeah. And I heard from 3 other people this week. One was a guy. He said, "I want to write and tell you thank you for you. I called you 14 years ago, and you took the call and you gave me some great advice. And now I'm the head of HR for a major cruise line." And on and on and on. And then I did a program for Penn State University recently, and the lady came on the call. They have 200 HR people there, 20,000 employees, Penn State. Now, I did an all-day program for them, and when I had the call to arrange it, the lady comes on the Zoom call and she says, "Lee, you know me." I said, "What?" "I do." She said, "I went to your time management class 30 years ago when I worked at Disney."
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Everything comes around.
Yeah.
How many times do you travel and run into somebody that knows you, or you know them, or you know their father knows your father?
That's something.
I
Yeah.
think it's one degree of separation, maybe only.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of being aware that, hey man, behave yourself.
Behave. That's
As
what it
my
all
mother
comes down
said,
to.
don't get too big for your britches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how you have to think about it. And we got to try to raise our kids that way so that they become the good role models. And it's just something we all can be better. You can be better or you can be worse every day.
Yep.
And it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Yeah. Lee, we can't thank you enough for your time. In our final moments here, just tell us what you've been up to lately, what you're planning on here in the future, because we want to know more about, we know your past, but what does the future Lee Cokerell look like?
Well, I'm old, so I pretty much know what the real future is. But I'm working on another book on some things, and I'm giving a lot of keynote speeches, and I make myself available to. I like to talk to schools, high schools, college students because they really appreciate it and sometimes don't hear it from their homes because of the situation they're in,
Mm.
and gives them some. So I that's the kind of stuff I do. I like giving seminars, workshops, speeches. Because people say, "Why do you do this, Lee? Why don't you just retire? Why don't you sit on the couch?" And I said, "Because people clap, and I'm insecure." And they clap, and when I play golf, nobody claps, so I don't do that. And so it's just a matter of, hey, you do what turns you on, and that turns me on.
Mm.
It's
Yep.
like somebody saying, "I love you," you know. As my wife said, if you love me, tell me. Don't keep it to yourself. And it's true. We all want to matter. We all want to be somebody. We all want to, and we all have the opportunity to do that. And so, how many people are you going to make feel better today? Well,
Mm.
figure it out.
Yeah.
And Lee, could you talk just like what are your academy? Could you talk about like how do people connect with your academy, or is it like just institutions that can connect?
You go to leecockerell.com and everything is there. I started the academy during the pandemic because I had nothing better to do, sitting at home for 2 years. And it's really 10 courses in there now, and I always added more. There's one on time management, there's one on great leadership, there's one on that we have one, we just did 51 videos, which are 3 minutes apiece for young people to know how to work in retail, how to deal with angry customers, how to deal with employees that are misbehaving. Uh, uh, so I'm doing more of 3 4 minute videos because the young people seem to really be attracted to those. And
Right.
people join the Cockrell Academy, and all that stuff's in there. It's $400 a year or $39 a month. We have a community call every month. Anybody can come on the call, and we talk about issues, things they have problems with. And frankly, it's really been it's teaches you more about how to be than what to do. You know,
Mm.
are you sending the right message to people so that and they trust you and they believe in you, and teaching you the basics. A lot of young people have no idea.
Mhm.
Here's
Right.
professionalism. Here's what it looks like. As you said, first impressions. Here's what it looks.
Mm.
Time management. It's not. You weren't born disorganized. Learn
Mm.
how to be organized. You were not born a bigot. You were not born a racist. You can overcome this, and we just, you can learn if you want to
Yeah.
learn.
True.
Cheap to learn. I said $400 cheaper in college.
Mm,
So
yeah, definitely. And internationally also people can have access to your academy, right?
yeah, sure, absolutely.
Got
And
it.
the books are on there. I've written 6 books. I said, but I didn't do well in college, so I wrote 6 books, but I don't know where the commas go or the. My goal in life is to use a semicolon and know why someday. But I hire people to put the commas in and the paragraphs right, and so it makes me
It's
look.
the idea that matters, not those small grammatical. Now, Chat GPT and other things can do that for us, or
It is,
Grammarly.
and I've given that for a couple of things, which is interesting. When you talk to people, you don't need commas,
Right.
so you can think about that. But ChatGPT, I've been running that. I enjoyed, and I wrote one yesterday for a friend who called me and was worried about his 19-year-old daughter. Why she's not really interested in going to college. She goes, but she doesn't really study. She's not committed. She wants, 19. I get it. I was there. I did the same thing. So I put Chat GPT. Why do young women, 19, 20, 21 years old, not have the discipline to excel in college and understand the future? And bingo, boy, it printed it out. And there's a
Oh,
and from psychological problems to parents' pressure to not understanding what they really want to do to how they grew up, where they grew up. It was amazing.
oh.
And
Yeah.
I've got a lot of those. I did an opening checklist for a retail store. Give me a good opening checklist for a retail store. Brrr. And it says you come in, you check the sidewalk, then you open the door, you check the alarm system, then you I mean, so
All there.
you're right. And then you can take what it tells you and you can add whatever customization you want to put in from your own personal point of view. So it's worth it. And it's quite revealing of things you would have forgotten, even though you might be smart. It goes out and, I guess, talks to everybody in the world.
Right.
So I would
Thanks.
suggest, I don't know a lot about it yet, but I'm using it to start to learn how to use it because I think it saved me a lot of problems. If you sent me something, can you do this for me? I might run that through that first and then add my own comments.
Good point.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with what it tells you either. You can take that out.
Right.
It's great. I mean, and we got to, yeah. It may even help you understand yourself. Say, you can put in there, why do I argue with my wife? And why do, oh, and it says, because when you were a little boy, your mother used to yell at you, and and you go, whoa, you can be your own psychiatrist.
Yeah.
There
Your
you
new
go.
best friend.
Yeah, but Cockrell Academy is great, and people really learn a lot from it that they're not going to learn in college. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. And the things they learn in the Cockrell Academy, they're going to need a lot more, and they're going to need what they learned in college, because that education changes so rapidly, but how you treat people doesn't. And and so
That's important.
and you probably know a lot of people that need it.
Yeah.
Like some of your relatives.
Oh, yeah.
LeeCockerell.com for all that. Links down in the show notes. Lee, let's go make some people's days today. Your enthusiasm is inspiring, and we really appreciate your work and your time coming on and sharing with our audience today is very valuable. So thank you so much, Lee.
Thanks. It's a great subject. We ought to think about it more. Take
Yeah.
care. Everybody take care. Good to see
You
you.
too. Take care.